Yeah, we clearly have a problem in Auckland with lack of supply of housing, and particularly lower income housing. The government is the biggest landlord in Auckland by quite a long way. So in addition to more greenfields development, there's opportunities for intensification within the city, and the government land represents the biggest opportunities to achieve that. The front end of that process is Tamaki. Now you've got to be quite careful about this kind of development because we're dealing with state housing tenants who are among the most vulnerable people in our community. So that's always going to mean being careful. But I think everyone's starting to realise that we could do better with the government assets that we already have to contribute to housing supply in Auckland.
Right, but you're going to have to try and find the capital to boost that housing supply because you'll be effectively doubling the amount of houses possibly on Crown land. So how do you find that capital? Is it just up to the government? Or is it what we're talking about there, PPPs?
Well, I think we've got to be a lot more creative about how to recycle the Crown's capital. The traditional model of everything being done by Housing Corp as a monopoly has left us with some good stock and some very poor stock, and some people living in unacceptable circumstances. So we need to work with others who have a better set of skills, particularly around the risks of development, the financial risks, the construction and operational risks, so that we can do more faster to both give us a more efficient housing stock to enable us to help more people in housing need, at the same time as meet the needs of Auckland for more housing in the city.
Right, so when you talk about recycling capital, is this selling off the two big houses, the badly placed houses, and then perhaps funding NGOs with that?
Well, I think it's a matter of getting the scale. I mean, the government does this on a small scale now, but given the 15 billion of stock and the urgent needs of people for housing assistance, we need to look at working with others outside of government who can help us lift the scale of that kind of capital recycling and lift the quality of the housing. An area where I think there's likely to be more of a flow of some sort of financing arrangement is with housing. I mean, that is a big lump. It's 15 billion, and even they say that 5 billion of it is in the wrong place, in the wrong condition and the wrong size. And you have to ask yourself what kind of government system we run that allows 5 billion worth of PAYE, because that's what it is, people paying over the $180 a fortnight to give to the government, that we managed to get 5 billion of it stranded. And you've seen the pictures on TV. We're still the biggest slum landlord in the country by a long shot. So while it's complex, because you're working with vulnerable people, we are pretty determined to get a better deal and get people who know how to manage the capital doing it. And we may have to face the reality that could actually cost a bit more than we might expect to run that kind of housing stock. So that's probably the area where there's the most, where we have got the most to learn, and where we could get the most benefit from what are actually pretty straightforward disciplines out in the market, but have never really been applied to this asset.